welcome to Taking Over. I am OLED, and I am joined by the one and only, the natural, Astrid Pizarro, and we are here talking Takeover. Well, not really. Heatwave. It's taking over, talking Heatwave. It's all kinds of goodness going on. I'm all psyched for Takeover because you know what? For the first time in a long time, this felt like a takeover.
Yeah, it really did.
Succinct matches, nothing disappointed. Well, one thing disappointed, but everything else was really good. It was really tight. Nothing felt like it took too long. Only one thing felt like it was a little too short. It was just really, really good stuff. Quality wrestling, high tier wrestling. It may have been the best named Tuesday show that NXT's ever done.
We need a name for that, to be honest. I can't. It just feels weird calling it like a regular NXT show when they have like a name to it. Because it's not a PLE, of course. So we need a name for that so we can use it moving forward. But yeah, I think definitely it was great. I feel like even today, I feel like I was more concentrated on the show that I'd even take a lot of notes on what happened because I was just loving what I was watching.
Yeah, my notes are very, very bare. I want to say hi to Bassar. I know he's not going to be able to stick around, but thank you, Bassar, for jumping in. We greatly appreciate it. Anybody who doesn't know Bassar, he's a wonderful friend of the PPW boys, the Prairie Pro Wrestling boys. That's our video bros, Bobby Munson, and the man with the angelic voice, Mr. Papa Smokes, who you got to join just a couple weeks ago. So if you want, after this show, go ahead and check that out. You can go see Astrid talking some vintage women's wrestling with Papa Smokes and Bobby Money Munson on their Ring Respect radio show a couple weeks ago. It was a good time. I enjoyed watching it. What did you think of watching vintage women's wrestling, being a fan who never really saw that kind of stuff growing up?
Yeah. It shows me a lot of how much he has changed. It's like seeing the attires and even just the way they're presented to how it is now. Yeah, it's a lot. I don't want to say a big difference. I know it's still a lot to be changed and a lot of progress to be made, but it was a good improvement to put it like that.
Yeah, things have gotten. It's nice, but even in this day and age, where you look at a lot of things and go, "Oh, this is awful," it's gotten better.
Yep.
Things are better now than they used to be. But man, there are some. You got to watch some very, very wonderful women in that. Bull Nakano, Sherry Martel, Luna Vachon. Oh, some of the all-time greats for young Ed. Just watching some of those women.
And Alundra
Blaze. Like I said, some of Ed's favorites, and then there's Alundra Blaze, who took the WWE Women's Championship. And
holy crap!
Thank you, Get the Tables, for going ahead and rating for this NXT show with a party of 20. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for dropping in. Thank you for going ahead and giving us a follow. I greatly appreciate it. We got Barry Monkey, we got jumping in. We got a couple people from the raid. We got Zach Bonifer. We got Truth and Loyalty. We have our friends Get the Tables right here. Thank you so much. They are a friend of Tom Collihue's, and in terms, a friend of ours. So go ahead and thank you for that. We've got all kinds of people following. We've got Poetic Beauty. We haven't seen you in a while over here. Thank you very much for joining us as well. We got a couple follows. We've got Diamond Dave Show. Thank you very much for following. We got Debabe 401, I think that is. If I'm mispronouncing it, you go ahead and let me know. We're here. We're our local establishment. For those that don't know who we are, we're a bit of a variety channel. It's mostly wrestling content with a little bit of extra stuff thrown in. We've got Paramindful on every other Monday where we talk about the spooky ooky of everything. We've got Turnbuckle Talk and us taking over on Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night. On Wednesdays, we have our GM Mode Wrestle Draft. On Thursday nights, we've got Ring Respect Radio, and we got the Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke. And then every Sunday, we've got Busting Out. So thank you all for joining. Not used to having this many friends in here. We got Noam in here. Well, thank you for jumping on with the raid and for following. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Astrid, we had a great start to the show with Tony D and Stacks in the pool doing the typical Heatwave thing. They got to have people in the pool. But look, last year we had the Toxic Attraction girls in their girls chat. If you know Heatwave last year, it was the text chain. This year, the guys are the ones that are being sexualized. We got Tony D out there, no shirt, just chilling by the pool. We got Stacks with his little bit of cut off. It was great. It was fun. I like it. I love when they do these little things for these shows just to make it feel good. Where they got some of the talent talking about it. It was nice to see Bianca, Ariana Grace, Santino's daughter.
Yeah.
She just competed in Miss Canada, if I remember correctly, in Miss Canada pageant. I don't think she won, but I know she competed and she was excited for that. So it's nice to see her back on WWE TV. Hopefully she's in-ring ready sooner rather than later because she was getting somewhere before the injury took place.
Yep, that's very
But we
true.
start the show with Trick Williams versus Ilja Dragunov. And as a story for the night, I don't have many notes on this match because most of these matches tonight were fantastic. My only note for this match is Trick loses in the perfect showcase match. This match got about 12 to 15 minutes. This crowd was invested in Trick. They like Ilja too, don't get me wrong. They were very excited to cheer and boo for Ilja. But I'm so excited for Trick Williams' growth that even without Carmelo there, knowing we're not going to see Trick and Carmelo side by side for a little bit here, the crowd is still chanting for Trick. They're still in his corner, fighting his case and supporting him. And that's a big thing for him, especially this early against this kind of an athlete. What did you think of Trick Williams versus Ilja Dragunov here?
The first thing I thought was we're starting the show with Trick and we're ending the show with Carmelo. How great is this? Full circle for them like this. Chef's kiss, amazing. No, like you, I was just enjoying the match. I didn't have a lot of notes. I know that there was a part that he did like Uranagi from the top to Dragunov, and that was amazing to watch. But I feel like it's a great back and forth they had, and they had the crowd on their feet from the get go, getting that "this is awesome" chant from from the start of the show. I was like, "Whoa, we're starting off like this. Definitely, this is like gonna be a great show if it's starting this way." But I think the crowd really did help because the crowd was definitely upbeat tonight from the get go. Chanting for Trick any chance they could, and it felt so amazing just to see him getting that support from the fans so quickly. Just being by himself the way he was. I was kind of nervous. I was hoping he would win, but still, I like that even with the storytelling they gave us with the match, I had hope that he was going to win because we had a couple of close calls. So I definitely enjoyed this so much. They definitely kicked butt with this, and they had like a good enough time that they were able to give us the story, and then, like you said, highlight Trick in such a different way, showcase him, and it was just perfectly done.
Yeah, I love this. The kick out from Ilja at the very last second on the Uranagi. And then Trick going ahead and hitting another move and Ilja just barely getting out of it. Trick going ahead and telling Ilja he wants more when Ilja was slapping him. So Ilja tried to slap him one more time and Trick caught his arm. It told this great story of Trick trying to overcome this superiorly talented individual. But it didn't make Ilja look bad for giving Trick offense. It ebbed and flowed in just the right ways. And then Ilja goes ahead and does that running elbow drop to the face. And Trick gets that shoulder up at the very last second. And I'm like, is he going to win this? Because I thought at that moment, I was like, all he has to do now after the Uranagi is lose and the match is perfect. Because he doesn't need to win this. I would love him to win it. I love Trick Williams. But at that point, he doesn't need the win. All he needs to do is look good in defeat. And he did just that. He looked fantastic in this match. And at least the crowd is behind him. And if the crowd's behind you, you can get away with a lot. So let's see what Trick can continue doing from here. But as everybody here knows, and for those that are new, we are big Trick Mello fans here. Carmelo Hayes is a fantastic individual from my neck of the woods. So I'm always going to be a big Carmelo Hayes fan. And it's nice to see Trick getting a little bit here. But Ilja gets the win, as he probably should have. It was a good thing. It went well. I was very excited for it. Moving on, we got Tyler Bate backstage doing more of his breathing techniques and trying to get into the zone. And Nathan Frazer went ahead and interrupted that. And at that point, Astrid's head almost exploded because she had both Nathan Frazer and Tyler Bate in the screen at the same time. But they had their shirts on, so Astrid was under control because they had their shirts on. Nathan asked Tyler to be a second tonight, and he agrees. Tyler agrees, and he says, we got to show these metaphor idiots, I think. He had a specific terminology, and I can't remember. It might have been morons. Either way, Tyler Bate's going to be the second. Or will he? This is where Astrid thought that the heel turn was coming.
Well,
And then we get into my only negative of the night. And it's not the match that's a negative. I thought Ivy and Ava were on their way to a good match. We'll get to the Dom and Mommy stuff after the match. We'll go ahead and do that segment after the match because I want to give this match its due. They only got 3 minutes in ring here, but they were on their way to having a pretty good match. And all of a sudden, the submission gets locked in and the match is over. And I'm like, don't like that.
yeah.
In a blink, the match was over, but in a good way, at least in a positive note, coming out of a negative. Ivy Nile starts fighting off the Schism supporters, the followers of the Schism, and 2 of the Schism followers go ahead and get Ava and they put her on her shoulders. And I'm like, that's the Creeds. I know it. They're stealing Ava Raine. This is fantastic. Barry jumping in, and you know what? Normally I would say it's wrong, but Ava did very, very little, which is probably a good thing. I think NXT agrees because if they thought she was capable of having a longer match, they probably should have booked a longer match.
Mm-hmm.
If it were me, I would have done this as a 6-person tag. I would have had Tony and Stax on the show, teaming with Ava, because we've already set that little thing up, that they don't get along and that they can coexist with Ava. That's something that we've seen built on television that wouldn't have been out of place and could have made a little bit of sense here. And then you still do the entire segment as it is, but you give the match another 5-10 minutes because you can have Stax and Tony D'Angelo carry the match. And if you're a little worried about Ava versus Ivy not being great in the ring, you can hide it in small spurts. It twinkled into this match. We got Noel Taken coming in saying, for the little she did, Ava looked strong. I agree. I think Ava's going to be great. I think Ava's got a big future ahead of her. I think she needs more time and she needs more opportunity. The one thing people a lot of times forget about NXT is that NXT is a developmental territory. It's a developmental brand where people who aren't the best in-ring workers get to come in and do some work. I think Ava needs to go out there and maybe she needs to have a stinker or two. I'm sorry, but she might have to go out there and have a bad match or two to learn how to have a better match, to learn what to do right and what to do wrong. There's only so much you can learn on the Florida House show loop. There's only so much you can learn at the PC. Astrid, as you are the proponent for women's wrestling on this channel, why don't you go ahead and talk about this match?
I think more than anything, what it tells me is that they don't think Ava's ready to have a longer match by having these kind of short matches. And it's just like, I don't understand. If she's not ready, then I would have had brought her in or even tried doing the match with her when she wasn't ready to do so. But on the other hand, just having her, like her showcasing was really well done. She looks strong. I just don't like that. I feel like she keeps doing the same move, just kind of, popping like Ivy and just dropping her on the mat. I feel like that, like she did it a couple of times. But overall, I like how it was going. I feel like I was liking the pacing of the match and how it was going, and all of a sudden it was over. I thought for some reason that Ava was gonna like reverse the submission, and then we continued the match. And then when I see that she tapped out, I was like, "Wait, that was it for real?" It took me a moment to realize that it had ended. I wish it hadn't because I feel like it was going so well and it was too short. But at the same time, like you said, just thinking back of the story progression we had tonight in the story was really well done because it's something that happened throughout the show. It wasn't just a match and it was over. So I'm glad that happened, that aspect of it. I just wish the match would have been a little bit longer because I was enjoying it, and it's like I feel like it was that abrupt ending. I was like, but that's it. Yeah, I want a little more.
We got our friend Throwback popping in, just saying, love you guys. Keep kicking ass. And one day it'll be cool to talk about NXT and have coffee. It'll be a great time. I'm sure we'll make it work at some point in the near future. Thank you, Throwback, for jumping in. We greatly appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, this is my only disappointment of the night. And like I said, I wasn't disappointed with the match. I thought they were on their way to having a halfway decent match. And it's hard to have a great match in 3 minutes. But at least the positive notes is at least there was storyline progression. We're still progressing this story where Ava and Ivy are vital parts of this story. And if they're not going to get in-ring time, at least they're being key components to a storyline development. which is still positive women's wrestling enforcement in some way, shape, or form. But NXT needs to know what they're going to do with Ava. They've either got to get her where they feel she's comfortable, or they've got to stop putting her in matches. It's one or the other. Because this half foot in, half foot out, 3-4 minute matches for her is not going to do her any good.
No, for sure.
Especially not in the landscape where people are counting minutes for women on television and wrestling matches. But Noel Taken is right. They left us wanting to see more, which is good. I agree. Like I said, I'm a big proponent for these two having a longer. That's the one thing I wanted was more. I wanted more of this match. So as a negative, it's the best kind of negative you can get, because it was a negative in terms of a little bit more of this might have been good. They were on their way to something good. Speaking of on their way to something good, we go back to what happened after Ivy Nile took to the ring. After our commercial break, we did come back with Dominic Mysterio and Mommy backstage talking, to which Mustafa Ali walks in and he talks about, you know what? I hope you guys have a great match tonight. Go ahead and break a leg. Especially you, Dominic. You can go ahead and break your leg in a million pieces, little tiny pieces. That'd be great. Because then you have to go away in a North American Championship to come to somebody respectful and deserving, like me. And then Mommy basically tries to brush him off and goes, you know what? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to get out of here. And he goes, 10 seconds. Seems about right for you two. Mustafa Ali. Mwah! Chef's kiss.
Yes.
It's just great to see that little bit of, you know, that's all we need. Just keep that ball rolling with Dominic Mysterio, Mustafa Ali. Little promo segment does the job. We don't need 10 minutes of Mustafa Ali talking. We don't need Dominic and him back and forth for 5. Give us 30 seconds of them in the ring, in the backstage area getting ready. Speaking of more backstage stuff, post-match, after the match with after the commercial break there, we got Ilja Dragunov coming back after a job well done, to where Wesley is on the phone, and Ilja starts talking about how he can't wait to get another opportunity at the NXT Championship. To which Wesley says, oh, so you'll be ready to take me on? And he's like, we'll see about that, young man. We'll see. Wesley did not like that. It's another one of those people telling him he can't win, which Ilja didn't say. And he talks about what I'm destined to do, what I'm destined to do. Everybody tells me what my destiny is. I love the build for Wesley here, but he's starting to get a little bit delusional, and that might be the best thing for it. That delusional heel who's right that people keep counting him out, and that eventually he is going to conquer that mountaintop. But I love the idea that he's getting so delusional that everybody thinks he can't win. When, if you really took a poll, there was probably about 60-40 split that thought Wesley might actually take the I saw many of people that I talked to in my NXT circle of friends that thought Wesley tonight was the night that Wesley gets that win.
No, I think something that I see, if it happens, I see it happening, especially with the storyline, the way it's happening already and the way it's starting. He deserves that PLE kind of victory to, like, you know, put that exclamation point to the story of, like, you told me I can't, but look at me now. I made it in a bigger stage than what I expected. And just thinking of, like, Ilja just, like, telling him, he's like, you do know there's going to be a new NXT champion by the end of the night. And I was like, yeah, it's not happening then. Good to know.
We then get Heritage Cup time. There was lots to like in this match. There was. There's lots to dislike, which is mostly the metaphor. The metaphor entrance. The metaphor entrance is bad. I hate it. I can't stand it.
No.
It does bad things to my eyes with those fucking lights coming down as they're trying to walk. I can't see straight. It's not good. I don't like it. Noam Dar is a fantastic heel. Love him to death. He's great. I could care less for everybody else in his group. Main man Mensa, mainline him somewhere else. Lash Legend, as those who are new here, not a big fan. She can go. Jakara Jackson, she can stay. She's nice. I like her. She's good. I feel like she's going to be a star in this business. But Lash Legend, no. She got to go. The quicker the better. Round 1, nothing exciting. Basic. Then they go to the picture-in-picture commercial break. To which I decide, okay, we're in picture-in-picture. I'm going to go ahead and get a bowl of ice cream. I've got 3.5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get myself a bowl of ice cream. I'm going to say hello to a friend like Dara Amazing. Thank you, Dara, for joining us. And I'm going to come back and, we'll get into the end of round 2, beginning of round 3. No, round 2's over because apparently during the picture-in-picture break, Dabba-Kato came out, chased off Tyler Bate, and Noam Dar got a win in the distraction. What? How do you do something like that during the commercial break in picture-in-picture? And the reason why I say, how do you do something like that? Because those not watching on Hulu, on USA, don't get the picture-in-picture because most of the places around the world don't show the picture. As we've seen from our English audience sometimes, that they don't always get the picture-in-picture. And to do a fall in a Heritage Cup rules match, British rounds match, it's, as he says, it's kind of crazy that you do that during the commercial break. Like, it's one thing to have the Dabba-Kato thing come out, but to not have the pinfall take place during the television's portion, not picture-in-picture, seemed a little unusual. What did you think?
I almost missed it too. Well, I definitely missed it, at least part of it, because I like you. I thought picture. I can barely see the other side. With the wrestling, I can barely see how small it is. I took a moment. It was like, let me get up, stretch out. And then by the time I sit down, I just see Tyler Bate just laid out. I was like, what the hell happened? And then I'm glad they put the replay right in that moment. I thought, but why would you do that during the picture-in-picture when most of us can even see with that tiny picture if you have it? It's like, I would have made, if you were to do something like that, maybe you would have made it like limited commercials, at least for that match, so that we would have missed that part of it. That would have been nice to see. It was like, why would you do it during commercial break when most of us can't even see this? Because I got glasses, but still, it's like that screen is very tiny, so it doesn't help. So it just, especially with that moment when it's like such a vital part to the match, because we have Noam Dar with that, that pin until like the end of the round, which is like the middle of the round. I think it was round 4, if I'm not mistaken. So it just, something that is just so pivotal to the match and to what's happening in the story within the match. And then a lot of us are going to end up missing it because you did it during commercial. Don't know why they would do that.
Speaking of that commercial break with a picture-in-picture, it was great that Dijak did post this on Twitter. If you haven't seen it, you should go take a look. There's a commercial for a new, it's another Liam Neeson movie, kind of like the Taken series, where there's a bomb in his car, and he has to keep doing what the killer says, or else he's going to blow up the car and kill his wife and kid and all that kind of stuff. And it's called Retribution. And anytime anybody mentions the word Retribution, Dijak has to post about it. And he has a great one for it. Barry Monkey says it's a novelty title. It's hard to take seriously, but it works due to the daft characters. Here's the thing. It may be a bit of a novelty, but I like the idea that it's something different because it gives you a third championship that some of your lower down the card talent can go after. So you can split up that North American title picture and have more people going after it. Like we found out that we're going to have an 8-person tournament with competitors from around the world, which, because we're going to have people from around the world and NXT's limited on its Japanese people or Asian influenced people, means we're getting one of 2 people for the Asian inspired community. It means we're either getting Jiro or we're getting our lovely friend Boa. Neither of which are happy with it.
What about, isn't Dante there too still?
Yeah, I'm sure Dante's probably there too, but we've seen him about as much as we've seen the other 2. And at least Jiro's been getting time with the Schism. So I have a feeling it's him. But no, I like the idea of having a different type of match that has slightly different rules and a championship to go with it. I don't mind the idea of having something like that because that's not a bad thing. Like, it's still a wrestling match. It's just a wrestling match broken up into 6 3-minute segments. A little bit like boxing, a little bit like MMA. It's not a bad thing. It's just a different way to consume the product. And like he says, the daft characters. Yeah, Noam Dar is built for this because his character is so out of the world that it fits in this crazy complex. We get Dar Amazing saying, I could see Tyler Bate, Dabba-Kato, and maybe Dante Chen. I can absolutely see them. I can also probably see Dragon Lee. I can also probably see Ilja Dragunov potentially. We got to get some Europeans in here too, other than Tyler Bate.
I was going to say, well, unless we get Nathan again.
Who would the American be? I mean, we could get Nathan Frazer as the American because Nick Aldis is going to win it. Yes. But Nick Aldis isn't going to be Nick Aldis. He's going to come back as Magnus to go ahead and win it because, oh, come on. You love Magnus as much as I do. That was a great gimmick. Nathan gets a quick win during round 4. And then we go all the way to the 6th round. It was a good back and forth. It was a fun match. It did everything it needed to do. But Metaphor gets involved. Nathan Frazer gets screwed. And Noam Dar wins back the cup he didn't technically lose, but Mensa lost for him. I mean, he lost it, but he didn't. He technically didn't.
He lost it, but then he did it, but then he didn't, then he didn't. Sure.
Yeah. Well, Mensa lost it on his behalf that he suggested. So it's his fault, but he didn't technically lose. You know, it's the loopholes. But he's the champion again, which means we're going to have to put up with more Metaphor crap. I just really hope I really hope Mensa's in this tournament because I'd love to see Mensa win the whole thing.
Oh shoot!
I think that would be hysterical. You have Jakara on one side with Mensa. You got Lash on the other side with Noam Dar. So when Noam Dar loses, both him and Lash lose, which is great.
I see you. I see what you're doing here.
Ava cuts a promo under the Schism's tree, telling Ava to come find her. You know, it was fine. It was great. It did what it needed to do. She wasn't bad. She wasn't great. It was just what it was. Dar Amazing saying the 3-time Heritage Cup champion. No. If you listen to Booker T, it's the 4-time. Did you hear Booker T? He kept claiming that it was a 4-time champion. It was a 3-time going into it. You know, it took me way too long to realize that he's talking about something that happened in his own mind, because I can't even find the rational place in the storyline where that works, because he lost the match to Tyler Bate. It's not like Tyler Bate had the cup and then he beat Tyler for the fake cup. Like, he lost the match to Tyler, so it doesn't even make sense there. But then we get Ed's highlight of the night. Tiffany Stratton comes to the ring. It's Tiffy time again, thank God. It was an okay promo by Tiffany, I'll be honest.
Yeah, what's happening with her promos lately? I feel like they haven't been great. One of the last few times, I think it was like maybe almost a month ago at this point, she had one too, and it was like, I feel like it was like it's been the second time around. I'm disappointed in her promo.
She hasn't had a lot to do, and does Booker T ever make sense? No,
never.
The answer to that question is no. Parrish jumping in. He had it twice in NXT UK, the fake time. So this time, so it is 4. No, because the fake time doesn't count as a reign because all he did is claim that the cup was his. He didn't necessarily win the cup. Mm-hmm. So it's not 4. No, I don't care what counts for Noam, Chris. Parrish. I don't care what Noam counts. I think I have a shot with Tiffany Stratton. That doesn't matter because she's dating Ludwig Kaiser. Well, maybe not for long if she ever watches Raw. Because if she watches Raw and finds out what Ludwig Kaiser's trying to do with Maxine, Ludwig's going to be missing a part of his anatomy. No, she has a decent promo. She talks about how great she is, which she is. She talks about how she's better than all the former NXT women's champions. And she names a few of them. Becky, Lynch being one of them, whom the fans on the internet and Becky Lynch herself are quick to point out that she never won the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah.
She also mentions Bayley, Asuka, and Charlotte. They all did win the NXT Championship. Good job, Tiffany. I almost feel like the inclusion of Becky was on purpose, even though I think it was an accident. Like,
just because I was thinking of it 2 ways though. Because first, is she ever said it kind of like the best champion, like in a general kind of way? I would understand. So I was like, that will make a lot more sense to me. But at the same time, if you think about it from her saying it from the NXT Women's Championship standpoint, I also think not only did they say it on purpose, because obviously we know that's the only title that Becky Lynch has yet to win from the women's side. So I was thinking not only that, but it's like they mentioned it, and they also said it later on, or I guess we were gonna like add it to this during the interview. She's like, yes, I know the internet shows are talking about it. I know I was wrong, and Becky wasn't champion. It's irrelevant. And I thought about it, and then I saw them.
Becky is irrelevant, so it's fine.
That's a different story. But anyway, my point is that I thought about it, and I saw Stephanie, who's a big Becky Lynch fan, on Twitter, and somebody said, well, the last time somebody called Becky Lynch irrelevant was Paige. And then look at where. No, that changed a lot. But anyway, so it's like I wonder how storyline wise if that's going to be related somewhere later down the line, because I think that will be interesting. Because as you said, Becky responded, that's basically the only championship I have left to win. And she's talked about wanting it, and Alexa Bliss has too. So I think that will be interesting if something does happen there. Who knows? But I would say with main roster getting involved in here, it's like a never say never kind of situation. But I would love to see Becky Lynch get involved with the ladies now. But I like how also if you think about it from Tiffany's character point of view, if she does mention Becky Lynch in here, you can kind of, for me at least, it makes me feel like she doesn't care about the other people that were there before her in that kind of way. So she's just throwing names out there of the people that were in the roster, like in general. So it's about her, not about them. So that's what matters.
I agree, which is why I think it was on purpose and by accident. Like, I think the backtracking was because it was awfully convenient that Becky Lynch happened to be watching her. Like, there's no way Becky Lynch
She reacted right on time for them to post it on the show. And I feel like she had a pause when she said Becky Lynch as if waiting for people to react to it. And then she continued on and said Charlotte, and I was like, I see what we did there, Blondie.
I think it's great that if she did it on purpose. I love the idea that they did. It's fun to sometimes make the fans talk about it. Because as we found out from a few of my people that I follow on Twitter now, if you have Twitter business, making people mention you and responding to things that you post are things that you want to do nowadays. So throwing in something like Becky Lynch and having 10,000 people tell you that she was never the NXT Women's Champion makes sense. We do have a bunch of comments that I want to get to. We have Parrish, who doesn't count, saying, it counts for Noam. Your chances with Tiffany don't count. That's irrelevant, like Becky Lynch. We have, if CM Punk had the real world title, and we're going to ignore that because CM Punk doesn't have the real AEW world title. He has a toy AEW world champion because he's not the real world champion. And he's a little boy playing with his toys over on Collision, saying, you can't come here, and being the little bastard that he is. It's fine. Just ignore him. Like we always do with bad children. We just ignore him. Speaking of bad children, Parrish comes in and says, also, Ed, the real Irish, they also count. The fake Irish in Boston. Like, to know him, it counts for you guys. We're not fake Irish people in Boston. One, I'm not Irish. I have zero Irish in me. Secondly, all of the Irish immigrants that came to Boston settled in Southie, where we have a large Irish population. We also have a large Italian population. I don't hate the Italians. I don't hate the Irish. I just hate Becky Lynch, and I don't think Finn Balor needs to be world champion. That's all. When you own a lemon shirt, you automatically have amazing timing. Don't argue. It's simply science. We can agree to disagree. We have a new follower in the chat being like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I have opinions, and some are good. Like my take on the NWA, which will be on my Twitter later tonight, where I'm going to repost that after Tyrus went out and made another fool of himself, and Billy Corgan really needs to get that title off of him. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to continue talking about Tiffany Stratton's promo here after she talks about how Becky Lynch was the NXT Women's Champion when she wasn't. And we get a great comment. Hey, people like who they like. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
That's what we're all about in Orly.
I have my opinions, but my opinions are my own. And like everybody, opinions are like bumholes. Everybody's got one. At least one. Some people got two. But anyways, moving on. Speaking of bumholes, Gigi Dolan comes out and interrupts the beautiful Tiffany Stratton and starts yammering on about her deserving a championship match. I don't know, as Kiana James correctly points out when she comes out next, what on God's green earth makes Gigi Dolan think she's worthy of an NXT Women's Championship match?
I have no answer for that one.
But I agree. Some buttholes do stink more than others. I wholeheartedly agree. As do some opinions. But that's the great thing. We like to agree to disagree if we differ on opinions. So I may think something, Astrid might think something else. Chris Parrish, who's a part of the Our Local establishment here in the chat, has his own opinions and he's entitled to them. But you know what? None of us are right. None of us are wrong. Well, I'm right about
I'm right or you're wrong.
You know what I'm saying. We agree to disagree sometimes. We then get Blair Davenport coming out and finally a real
the only
challenger.
One that has a case.
Well, not the only one, because I have a feeling you're going to think that the next person has a case too.
No, but I think if you think about it from the standpoint of like the storylines right now, I think the only one from my point of view that does have a shot of saying like this is my title shot is Blair with all the victories she's had recently. Even Roxanne doesn't have a case. Sorry.
No, I agree. I think Blair Davenport should honestly win that Fatal 4-Way next week, which is basically what we get to. Blair Davenport comes out and she puts down the roster talking about how it's been a cruel year with Blair Davenport back in NXT. Mm-hmm. And if that's not enough, we finally get Roxanne Perez coming out. She tries to lay claim to the NXT championship. And she says, Tiffany, I have something to tell you. And Tiffany walks forward to her and she gets absolutely blasted by Roxanne Perez. And you're right, Noel. You're right. Roxanne did beat Blair. That's the one thing that gives her a chance to be in this match. It should honestly be a one-on-one match between Blair Davenport and Roxanne Perez.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do with this. And I'd have Blair win. Because at this point, even I'm ready to take the title off of Tiffany. Because they haven't had her do anything with it. Mm-hmm. But again, my reasons for that are not only because I think they haven't done anything or enough with Tiffany as women's champion, is because I think there are better stories to tell with Blair Davenport with the championship. Because at that point, you go back and you retell Roxanne Perez. And then as soon as Roxanne loses, Nikita Lyons comes back. And you have Roxanne work with Nikita. I'm sorry, you have Blair Davenport work with Nikita. And then once you have Blair Davenport dispatch Nikita, which she should, as much of a Nikita fan as I am, Nikita needs to lose that first program. You then have Blair Davenport work with Wendy Chu. And then you have Wendy Chu lose again. And then, should she be ready, you can then do... What was Sol Ruka's friend's name? Not Sol Ruka, but the friend of hers.
Yeah,
that Blair
Danny Palmer.
That's the one. The irrelevant one, Danny Palmer. Yeah. You have her come out, and she works, and she gets beat. And then you finally get to Sol Ruka. And I think that's when you take the title off Blair. I think you take the title off Blair at that point. She can have a 6-month reign with the championship. And at that point, when Sol Ruka's healthy, Sol Ruka takes the NXT Women's Championship off of Blair Davenport. Because I think she was headed in that direction before she got hurt. So if she comes back healthy enough, I think that'd be a good... And that gives you a nice little program with the NXT Women's Championship from here to, say, Heatwave next year. I think you do that, and there's your NXT Women's Championship from here to Heatwave.
Dara wins it to come in of the night. That's the one.
Gigi's case is that she grew up poor, I think, and Kiana does numbers and breaks hearts. Although there was a great line from Gigi Dolan when they were talking about Blair Davenport getting beaten up in the store, and she goes, you know what? I do kind of wish, though, it was Kiana's business bitch getting beaten up in the dog food aisle. No, canned food aisle, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was Blair telling Gigi, I'm going to kick you so bad even your brother won't recognize you. And I was like, oh, okay, we're going there.
But again, this was a great segment for the Women's NXT Championship. because a brawl breaks out. Next week we get the Fatal 4-Way, which should get a decent amount of time. Because you've got two women who can carry Kiana James. Gigi Dolan should be fine with these four women in a match. I think Gigi Dolan will be fine. Because she hasn't had great chemistry with Kiana, but I think if you include the others, I think she'll be just fine. But this match should get time. And again, this segment got time. So while it may not be an in-ring match, it is a nice promo segment setting up multiple feuds going out of this. No, we're not going to talk about that one, Parrish, but thank you for your comment. I greatly appreciate it. It set up more time for the women on this show, and it focused the NXT Women's Championship, which we honestly haven't since, what was it? Great American Bash. It's the first time Tiffany's had anything develop about her championship since the Great American Bash. And Dara Mason goes, all right, Kiana and Gigi with paint and stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Astrid, if you can go ahead and talk about Drew Gulak in the segment here with Miles. I'll be right back.
I was like, well, I don't want to say disappointed, but I feel like there was not much to this one. Gulak is just watching as Damon and Dempsey are training. Miles comes in. He's like, something about watching the match that he gave him to watch. And he's like, are you tired? He goes, no, we're never tired in here. We're never supposed to get tired. We don't get tired. And then I like how we see Dempsey going from one side of the ring from like sliding out to like choking Miles, and he taps out. He's like, we don't tap out in here. We don't get tired in here either. It just, I think I would have skipped this, to be honest. To me, there was nothing to it. I don't know. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. My favorite thing about this was the fact that I got to write it this way in my notes. Gulak, the Oompa Loompa, and Charlie in the Chocolate Factory are working out till Miles comes in and Charlie makes him tap out with a choke.
Yeah.
Only because I got to write Oompa Loompa and Charlie in the Chocolate Factory in my notes. Thank you, Chick Williams. You helped me twice. We have Noel Token going, I was tired. I agree. Miles was tired too. And by the way, for those that don't know, if you don't know who Miles is, Miles Bourne is a fantastic individual. He is a deaf wrestler overcoming his deafness to be in the professional wrestling, which is why Drew Gulak always leaned when he was in that choke. Gulak was like leaning over Miles's face so that Miles could read his lips so that he knew what was coming now. Now, granted, he probably was instructed on what was coming, but I love that Gulak makes sure that Miles is always looking at him when he talks to him, just to give him that little bit of extra comfort zone that he needs, which I really think is important for Miles as he comes up. Ivy shows up in the field, and it's revealed that the Creeds are the ones that have Ava Raine. Shock! Surprise! Oh, no!
Wait, gasp in Spanish.
Yes, gasp in Spanish. The Creeds say they want another match to go ahead and bring themselves back to NXT. It's going to be in a steel cage match. We're going to skip to later on where the Dyads say, sure, whatever, fine. Just bring Ava back. The Dyad would do anything for their sister. And they're going to. Next week when they lose, and this will be the last time we see the Dyad, except maybe 2 weeks from now when Joe Gacy kicks them out of the schism.
Yeah.
But, October's coming quick, and I'm still surprised that we're going to make it into September with these guys in ring. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, Dios mío! It's the Creeds!
That was so accurate. Yeah. I don't know how they lasted this long. It's just surprising. It's one of those, whenever somebody says that they're leaving, or there's rumors of somebody leaving, something happens and they're totally off screen ever since until the contract is done. So I'm still surprised every time I see them, both of them on a weekly basis.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels has done a fantastic job. And the funny thing is, hold on. Back in focus. There we go. It's done a great job because all it's done is help James Drake and Zach Gibson get jobs when they get out of here. The Dyad's leaving in October. The Dyad's leaving in October. You know what? Every week I see them on TV, I start to question just a little bit more. Are they really going to be gone? But if they re-sign, great. Good for them. If they don't re-sign and they go out for free agency, great for them. But also great for HBK for putting these guys on television and letting them showcase to the world that they're essentially free agents and This is the kind of in-ring action that you can get from them around the world when these contracts come up in October. Yeah. So that's fantastic. We also have Noel saying, are we going to get a scene where Ivy is mad at the Creeds for lying to her? I mean, I think she was in on the plan, I think.
Yeah. It almost seems that way.
Maybe not. Maybe it's like Stacks where people don't know. But, you know. And you know what? If you're tired, like Noel, no, we're talking about the thing where they don't get tired over the Drew Gulak thing. If you get tired, go to Rogue Energy, wwenxt.com. And you can scan that QR code that Ash is pointing to right now. They're a sponsor of our show. They're a sponsor of all the shows here at our local establishment. Go to rogueenergy.com. Use the promo code OLEPODS to get 10% off your order. 10% off any of your energy drinks. These energy drinks are healthier than most of your other energy drinks. There's a lot less sugar in these. They do fantastic work. They don't cost a whole lot. They come in the tubs for the most part. But if you do want it and you live in the United States, they do have a couple of different flavors in the can variety. For those people like Astrid who, you know, are addicted to the little short Red Bull cans, you can go ahead and get
I haven't had one in 3 weeks.
Sure you have.
It's been water.
How much Starbucks have you had in those 3 weeks?
Once.
That's a lie. No. I watch your vlogs. I know how much you have Starbucks. No, but if you want to skip the Starbucks line because it costs too much, go to rogueenergy.com and go ahead and put on that promo code OLEPODS. I love the watermelon. Chris Parrish is our flavor aficionado. He tries all the flavors. And our good friend Mel Ball, who we're not going to see here tonight, doesn't seem like, she always prefers the blood orange. But there's all kinds of different flavors. Find which one makes you the happy camper that we are with our Rogue Energy. We get announced the 8-man tournament that we talked about earlier for the Heritage Cup, which Noam Dar says, great, I got 5 weeks off.
I love how the letter came from the Heritage Cup committee. I was going to say, who's this committee? I'm so curious about them. But I like how he thinks about it. Holy Sean.
You know who it is? It's Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg, X-Pac, Molly Regal. Holly. No Regal. Molly Holly, Alundra Blaze. Who else was on the committee that helped decide who was going to be in the chamber?
Yeah. I knew it was 2 guys and it was 2 guys and 2 girls, wasn't it? And then HBK in the middle.
So it's HBK, X-Pac, and Road Dogg, and then Molly Holly and Alundra Blaze.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you that's the same 5 that are part of the Heritage Cup committee. Just saying.
I love the celebration. It's like, I get 5 weeks off. And I was like, I wish I thought of it that way when it came to life. It's like, I get 5 weeks off. We're good to go.
Yeah, if I ever got 5 weeks off, I don't know what I'd do with myself. We got Lyra, Valkyria, and Dragon Lee coming out, and they're going to take on... Well, first we get Dominic Mysterio and Mommy, and then we get Lyra and Dragon coming out. Representing Canada and the United States, Ed Fry and Chris Parrish. I think Chris Parrish might be in that tournament for, that. I, on the other hand, am not. I am not in ring shape. I am not a trained professional. Chris Parrish is a trained professional. We will allow Chris Parrish to go ahead and do the wrestling on our local establishment's behalf. This was a good match. I enjoyed this. I thought this was great. Lyra, Valkyria, and Rhea Ripley have the best chemistry that Lyra has with any opponent. Like leaps and bounds.
Yeah, I don't get it.
She looks like she could be on Raw with the way she looks when she wrestles Rhea.
It makes me, I don't know if I should be disappointed or I don't know how I should, like, what word to use to describe it. Maybe bamboozled in a way. I don't know. But it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, you see this and you're like, wow, she's doing amazing. And then if she has a match next week, you're like, what the hell happened? It's not the same person I saw the week before. It's just, I don't know. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Because I like what I see here, but then we don't see it again unless it's Rhea. So I'm like, can you find somebody else to have chemistry with? Because apparently you don't. I don't like that. And what I like about it too, and I like how I saw it on Twitter just as I was thinking about it too. I like how they show here Rhea being still dominant. You know, she doesn't have to be in a squash match, but you still see her being dominant while you still give Lyra, a moment to showcase herself as well. It was really well done. Raw, take notes, please, because this is how it should be done. A match kind of like this, It doesn't make Rhea look weak at all because Rhea stalled for Lyra in such a way. It made Lyra look good. Rhea still looks good in dominant as champion. Do it more often. You're muted.
Restarting that. I haven't watched Raw a lot lately, and I haven't seen a lot of Rhea's matches lately. Has she been doing the powerbomb position, hands, flip, suplex thing a lot? Is this something that's newer, or is it just something that I just don't recognize all the time? Because I love that move where she takes them and she lays them on her, and then she goes ahead and gets them up. It's an interesting, different variation to a suplex that I really enjoyed. What I also enjoyed is NXT continuing to be the open world environment of WWE, where no other brand is the open world environment like NXT, where all of a sudden Raquel Rodriguez comes running out and steals Rhea Ripley from this match, and the ref's like, nothing happened.
The Forbidden Doors NXT. Not so forbidden.
But Rhea just disappeared, ref. Aren't you a little concerned where Rhea Ripley just disappeared to? No,
it's like it's mommy. She'll be fine.
Yeah, she'll be fine. But as the referee, shouldn't you? I wonder what happened.
No.
But Raquel gets a little bit back of Rhea Ripley, and we go ahead and have that. Dominic goes ahead and takes the pin, as he should. It's always nice to see Dominic take the pin. And you put over the NXT people on NXT. Who would have thought that'd be a good idea?
Wow, really? Yeah, I didn't know that was a good idea.
Does it make Dominic look bad in any way, shape, or form to take an L in this kind of a match to Dragon Lee? Do we think that Mustafa is going to take the title off of Dominic, or do you think it's going to be Dragon Lee?
That's a tough one. I'm good with either one. I just wouldn't know who to pick, though.
Do you think it's going to be a triple threat match at Payback? Or not at Payback, at No Mercy?
Possible. We're used to the multi-man matches for the North American title, so that as well.
Yes, but Wesley is no longer the champion, so we're going to have to stop getting used to
maybe they'll keep the trend going, so who knows?
Oh yeah. Dominic the heel is really going to be interested in having more multi-man matches. More reasons where he could lose the title without being
maybe, Noam reminded us we have 5 weeks, so maybe we'll have Dragon Lee first and then Ali for the No Mercy, kind of like that. Who knows? Or maybe the other way around, but they got 5 weeks, so let's see.
We got Chris Parrish jumping in saying Dragon Lee wins when Ali turns on Lee. That works. I can see that. I mean, Ali's already kind of the heel. He's playing tweener. If you're talking about Dragon Lee, Dominic Mysterio, and Ali's the tweener in that discussion because he's not really a babyface, but he's certainly not a heel like Dominic. So I think it fits in. But we talked about all the great shows that our local establishment does, and normally we go ahead and wait to the end of the show, but we got some new viewers, so we want to go ahead and showcase some of the things that you can see every week, especially this week, on our local establishment. We'll be right back in just over a minute or so. You can go ahead and join us for all of those fantastic shows. Remember that it is AEW All-In Weekend, and if I can find the time, Ed will be joining the All-In Predictions and Review show because I found somebody who's willing to let me watch the show. And I think I'm going to have some fun and watch some All-In.
Well, hell just froze over.
It's supposed to be the biggest wrestling show ever. How could I, as a wrestling fan, miss the biggest wrestling show ever? Even though only one match on the entire card has me wanting to watch it. One match. And you know what? You would think that'd be breaking news. But no, we've got some other
breaking news. Something recorded.
I just wanted to do that because Parrish is in the chat and he's going to get mad at us for using his stuff. But Astrid and I are going to be busy this Sunday morning because both Astrid and I are going to be on Busting Out.
And I can see you getting out and shaking your body. Welcome to the party with a knots hang. It's just a rap thing. Shaking your body. Welcome to the party with a knots hang. It's just a rap thing.
It's nice that busting. No. You have that incorrectly, Paris.
No.
It's nice that taking over can help busting out with content this week, considering one of the hosts of Busting Out is unavailable. And you know what? We might not just show up and help out. We might take over Busting Out. You'll have to see it. But yes, join us as me and Astrid will be joined by Bobby Money Munson and maybe a run-in from Chris Parrish from the Toronto International Airport. Just remember who started taking over and respect your elders. Are you older than me? Because I don't know if you are. I know Bobby is.
If he would have said to, started to Astrid, that would have made more sense. I'm one of the babies here, but you said Ed, so that doesn't count. Mistakes were made.
It's because I do all the talking. But anyways, join us.
You get us in trouble for the both of us.
Join us this Sunday as we go ahead and join Bobby Munson as we talk about all the things that are going on in professional wrestling. Not just AEW, not just WWE, not even just NXT. Bobby Munson is a big fan of MLW. So I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about stuff like that and just taking general questions and comments from the chat and going ahead and talking about those things. So please do make sure that you join us this Sunday. It is at, if I remember correctly, 12:15 Eastern Standard Time. I believe is the correct time for that. We have Barry Monkey saying Big Daddy versus Giant Haystacks in Wembley, 1981. Biggest wrestling TV audience ever in the UK. All in as a minor event in comparison. I mean, you laugh. Big Daddy versus Giant Haystacks was a big match back in the
day. I know, but I love coming from him. I understand what he's talking about, so it just makes me laugh.
But for those that don't know, Barry Monkey is our resident UK person who we love, who stays up to all hours of the morning watching these shows with us. So we greatly appreciate any time they are here. We have the backstage interview where Tiffany goes ahead and reveals that it is going to be the Fatal 4-Way. And she talks about how Becky is, correctly, irrelevant. All we have to do is say, thank you, Trish.
Merci beaucoup, Trish. Or gracias, Trish.
I was going to say, why are you busting out the French? Anyways.
I got to practice this somehow.
Yeah, you practice your Duolingo. Chris Barry says, Barry, come watch me shoot the shit.
Saying you got replaced already.
Yeah. We have a Tia recap, and then she's seen backstage after the match complaining to the referee, which I don't understand because she lost the match. Like, she lost the match. The ref didn't do anything. Andre Chase didn't interfere in the match. And she complains that she wants it stricken for the record. Doesn't happen. She's very angry. And then JC Jane comes walking up to her and says, you know what? That was a different animal that I fought tonight than the girl who walked in here a year ago. To which Thea Hale fucking perfectly says, yeah, I'm a grown woman now. I'm like, oh my God, Tia. Oh,
The timing was great.
she's winning me over with this promo. Oh my God, this week she's winning me over with this. It was fucking fantastic. And JC sits here and she goes, you know what? We've all had people that get on us. We've all had people that let us down. But you know what? People like you and me, we get over it. Mm-hmm. We get through it. And I'm like, that's an interesting tag team. I wouldn't mind that. To which Paris says, I heard that Tia Hale is the 1/8 Irish, so Ed, I understand the hate. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm never going to live that down because I think Becky Lynch is overrated and that she is the least interesting member of the Four Horsewomen. She's the least decorated member of the Four Horsewomen. And she's honestly just not that good in the ring. If you think about it, think about Becky Lynch's best matches. Her best matches are when somebody else is leading the match. She's never leading the match when she has a good match. Because her best matches are against Charlotte. And Charlotte always leads. Which we have Noel taken saying, facts. Nice to see some people supporting me against Becky Lynch. She says, least interesting. Charlotte barely got over in Mexico nowadays. She had all of those people the side of the ring in the palm of her hand during those Mexico shows. She's fantastic. Anyways, moving on to other things that matter. We got Baron Corbin versus Von Wagner. I was really disappointed in the fact that this wasn't a match. Because I was really looking forward to this match.
Right?
He's not talking about the Mexican shows. He's just talking about getting to Mexico. Well, you know what? Andrade's pretty cool in Mexico. It's hard to get over with Andrade there. Anyways, Corbin attacks Von during his entrance. They keep brawling. All of a sudden, Braun Breaker, who nobody asked to be here, nobody asked him to be anywhere. He should be with his girlfriend as she recovers, shall we say. And you know what? Braun Breaker sticks his nose in here and he spears Von Wagner and stares down Baron Corbin as Baron Corbin's looking up at him and just smiling, seeing what he appreciates what Braun Breaker did. You know, he sees that.
I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. I really wanted to see this match. I was really excited for this match.
I did too. And then he has a shirt that says "Best Be in the Business."
I'm not so sure about that, but anyways, moving on. No, I really wish we had a match here. I really do. I think it would have been fun. I think we'll get it next week. I think we're going to get a triple threat next week is unfortunately what we're going to get. And I think at Payback, we're either going to get Braun versus Corbin. Mercy. Keep saying Payback. Payback's such a much better show name for the NXT show than No Mercy is. But Barry, that's not nice. I mean, it's not wrong, but it's not nice. Perfect leg for Von Wagner match. No, I was really hoping for this to be a match because I wanted to see what Von Wagner could do being in the ring with somebody like Baron Corbin, who's his size, who's his strength level, and who's so veteran like Baron that I think he could really draw out some good babyface heat for Von Wagner. But we'll have to wait and see, unfortunately. To which Noel Taken agrees with Barry's comment that it was a perfect length for a Von Wagner match. You know, like I said, we can agree to disagree on great wrestling. I don't think Von Wagner's a compelling wrestler, but I've really enjoyed the story that they've been telling with Von Wagner. He is. Every week he's growing. Yeah, not going to... No. The Dyad then accept the challenge for the steel cage match. We have a Dijak promo talking about Eddie Thorpe and how he's going to need all that fighting spirit. He's going to need to bring it with him because Dijak's ready to put Eddie Thorpe down once and for all. Mel's going to be sad when Dijak wins this match, isn't she?
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you think Dijak's going to win, or do you think that they're going to put over Eddie Thorpe here? and continue moving him towards the North American Championship.
I feel like at this point Eddie kind of needs it more in that aspect. This is like, if you're going embrace your culture to get kind of like, I want to say, that strength, to go face Dijak again, so kind of expect him to like do better this time around against Dijak. So it's like, if he doesn't do better, then what was kind of the point of the ritual and everything? Like, it didn't work. You know what I mean? I feel like to continue the story, it makes more sense for me that he wins.
Yeah, and as Noel Taken says, hard justice. Yes, I love when Dijak mentions hard justice. It harkens me back to the old days of watching Impact in the Asylum years when we had was the pay-per-view name Hard Justice?
Well, I went to Hardcore Justice.
Okay, I was gonna say, because they had a pay-per-view for Impact named something like that. But yeah, I love Hard Justice. I love everything that Dijak's doing. No, not Hard to Kill. I know that one. It's the old one. So the pay-per-view I'm thinking of, and I think it's the same one you're thinking of, is the one where they had the steel cage, not Lockdown, but it was a version of Lockdown where they had a tagline to it. And I feel like it was like Hard Justice or Hardcore Justice or something like that. Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's Impact. We don't talk about Impact here. Well, we do, because Barry's here, and Barry loves to talk about Impact. But after this, we got the main event, which was fantastic. As Booker T and Vic Joseph talked about on the air, it is the first time in NXT's long, illustrious history that we had two African-American people going at it one-on-one for the NXT Championship in the main event of a show, which honestly is really cool. It didn't need to be. It didn't feel forced. It just felt like two guys who happen to be there, and you get to go, oh, look, we're doing this cool match. And by the way, it has this nice, little factor of being the first time that we did it. It wasn't history for history's sake. It was a match that was made that happens to be historic. Yeah. What did you think of this main event? Let's go to you first for one of these, because I think I've talked a lot tonight.
I feel like even this one was one of those that I barely took any notes on it, just because I was loving what I was seeing from the guys. And I love how not only that, but the crowd was so behind it. I think one of my favorite parts was having Carmelo do the DDT onto Wes on the commentary table. And I love the chance of how people were chanting back and forth between both of them too, that people, like, the crowd couldn't choose. So I love seeing that, like, even they were split between both of them. I loved it. I also love towards the end when we have Wes on the outside and Carmelo looks at him, kind of like pleading with him, kind of like, don't come in here, because he was at a count of 9 at that point. And he looked at him like, kind of like, don't. And he just slides in at that last moment for the ending there. And even when Wes does the cardiac kick and Carmelo just like, nope, slides out, knowing that that's the moment that he's going to go for the pin right after. But, not only that, but even from the entrance too, which is one of the things, like having the jersey with the fire lit up at the beginning of it too, him being with the little tassels that says the H and the M for him. I loved it from beginning to end. I love that even with this, the storytelling they have within the match still made me think, is Wes going to win it? It had so many moments that I kept thinking, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? But I like how we still have Melo retaining. I'm thinking we'll get Wes being champion down the line, but still it's going to be interesting moving forward how they involve him later on. But yeah, I like how they made history. They had a great match. Loved it. I loved it. I guess it's one of those I wouldn't mind seeing again as well, because they did so well together.
Yeah, I think Carmelo Hayes again had a great match, but it's hard not to have a great match between these two talented individuals. Their in-ring chemistry was obviously going to be off the charts. They've done such a good job of setting the seeds for the story that we're getting from Wesley, where we're getting, and we talked about it when Wesley first became a singles competitor, when Zach Wentz was pulled out of NXT, and he became a single star, and he had to do it on his own. And he had that promo, and I'll go back to that promo. He's in the ring, and he's crying a little bit, and he's angry, and he's mad. And he talks about, you know what, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to be here. I'm going to make it. And I'm like, you know what? That's the kind of fire that you need to give him to make him relatable, to make people want to see him succeed. And they're doing the same thing here, but in a different way. Now it's a heel. Now it's delusion. Now it's all about anger as opposed to about pain and wanting to prove himself. Now it's, I'm so sick of people telling me what I can't do. Can't. And I love the fact that in that, the only thing that you do as a promotion when you book a can't storyline is make sure he loses. He has to lose the first step of that, because that story doesn't do well if all of a sudden Wesley wins and he's the NXT champion. Then the story meant nothing. He has to continue going through the can'ts. He has to now listen to all the people people like us who are talking about this match and going, see, Wesley wasn't able to do it. He can't do it. Wesley is building such a great character arc here. And this is a match where Melo got to shine in the ring. And he did. But the story's not about Melo right now. The story is about Wesley. And about proving that Wesley is deserving to be at the top of the card. We have Noel Taken jumping in. And again, I want to thank you for joining us from the raid from Get the Tables. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you stick around. Wesley's wrestling has gotten a lot better, but his character's becoming an a-hole. Absolutely. That is 1,000% the exact same thing they want you to think. They want you to think that he's becoming an asshole. Because he is. That's what he's doing. He's sick of people telling him what he can and can't do. He thinks he can, and he's going to go out of his way to be a dickhead to prove it. And you know what? That's going to turn him heel, and it's going to give him an entirely new run. And you know what? I'm down for it. I'm down for the heel run with him. Telling the exact same story they told 8 months ago when he started this run as a singles star. We got Barry Monkey jumping in, saying, great match, 2 really good wrestlers, but I can only see Carmelo making it big on the main roster. I kind of agree. I don't think Wesley is going to be the biggest star on the main roster, but I don't think he's going to fail either. Sorry, I had to turn off my air conditioner. It's getting a little chilly in here. But no, I think Carmelo has all the signs, and he has all the people behind him to be a big star on the main roster. But I think Wesley's going to do fantastic things. I think Wesley can find a home. Once you get Gunther out of that Intercontinental title division, I think Wesley will find a home in a division like that, and he'll perpetually be one of those guys. That's exactly that. You took the name right out of my mouth. He'll be a lot like Ricochet. He'll never crack that world championship caliber. Now, granted, Ricochet had a match, but he didn't really have a match for the world championship. But no, I think Wesley could be one of those guys who wins 1 or 2 Intercontinental championships, probably has 1 or 2 tag team championship reigns with somebody generic and random that they just put them together with, and they do. Wesley and Ricochet become a team. Yeah, that's it. Parrish, you did it too. Stop. I'm on the show. You guys let me talk. No, but I agree. You guys are both right on the nailing it right there. Wesley, if they wanted to do him as a tag team star, Ricochet would be the perfect tag team partner. I think they could get a lot over. One thing I didn't mention, because we started talking about it and then I got caught up with comments. There was a segment backstage between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. And I loved it where Trick's like, oh, you know, I did my part. And Melo's like, yeah, you did. You went out there and you really tried. And he's like, you know what? It didn't go my way, but you know what? I want everything in this business. You want to know what he was looking at when he said, I want everything? He wasn't looking at Carmelo. He was looking at Melo's title. Oh, the turn's coming.
It's happening.
The turn's coming.
Mark was right all along.
He was right all along. But I love it. He's got that seed of doubt now, because Melo starts talking about how I need to make sure that I don't have an asterisk on my championship. And after Great American Bash, and Trick's like, wait, hold on. So you're blaming me for the Great American Bash? He's like, no. Calm down, calm down, big fella. Calm down. No, I just want to make sure that I can prove without a shadow of a doubt that I am him. That I am this champion. And I just love it because Melo's never needed Trick. Trick's never been somebody that Melo needed to have on his side. And I love the friendship between them. but I'm going to love the turn. Because it reminds me of Shawn Michaels and Diesel. And I'm a kid who grew up in the 90s watching wrestling. And that turn of Diesel on Shawn Michaels. And then, to a lesser extent, Sid turning on Shawn Michaels. Because Shawn Michaels is a bit of a prick sometimes. Shocker. Shawn Michaels is a bit of a prick on screen and off screen. It's a shock. But no, I think it'll be a lot of fun to see Trick Williams eventually turn on Carmelo. I don't want to see it anytime soon. I want to see that take a bit of time. I wouldn't mind that happening at Stand and Deliver. I think that's the perfect stage to have Trick Williams turn on Carmelo Hayes. Either that or have him turn on him at the Rumble.
Yeah.
Like have Trick outside at the Rumble with Carmelo going to the ring with Melo, and then have him get up on the apron and pull Melo out of the Rumble, setting up that road to Stand and Deliver, where Trick's like, I want everything, and everything means your title. Dar Amazing jumping in saying, put West with Ricochet, and with Rey Mysterio, we can call him West Coast Pop. I'd say put Lee and Ricochet team together and add Dolan as their female manager, aka a new wave of London and Kendrick with Astrid Pizarro. That could work. Rest in peace, Astrid Pizarro. She was fantastic. And as he says, or the Hardys with Lita. I agree. Team Extreme was a fantastic thing for the Hardys, and it made Lita a household name.
Yeah.
Air conditioner turned back on for some reason. Sorry about that. Thank you, Noel. Take it. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for joining the stream. Hopefully you come back for another one. We'll be here every Tuesday night right after NXT goes off the air. And speaking of ending the show, we should do that, Astrid. Tell the good people where they can find you this week.
Well, you said it. You can find us on Busting Out at 12:15 as we talk about whatever we come up with before the show happens. No, you can find me then on my as it's there on my Twitter and Blue Sky, Astrid Pizarro, Instagram and Threads, Astrid Pizarro 20, and anything you can find on my YouTube channel, which is exactly like my name, Astrid Pizarro.
Yeah, and you can go ahead and find me on the X at EdFries12054. I don't need no Blue Sky. I got gray skies. It'll be fine. I don't need no threads. I got this wonderful Blood on the Clock Tower Connecticut shirt that I'm wearing tonight. My friends over at CT Blood on the Clock Tower, fantastic people. Great game. You should go ahead and check them out. You can also find me on my Twitch at EdFries2002, where I do all of my gaming content, and I also stream some of the shows that we're going to be on. I also, speaking of gaming streams, tomorrow night, me and Parrish go at it once again in a one-on-one as we go ahead and try to get rid of that dastardly Eric Bischoff as I try to reclaim my number one seed, as Parrish did win season 1 of Wrestle Draft. But that was season 1. Season 2, I'm going to come out on top. But you can go ahead and catch that tomorrow night. And like Astrid said, like we talked about, the two of us are going to be taking over Busting Out this Sunday. So beware, Bobby, because I don't think we're just going to appear as guests. I have a feeling we might just take over the show. But for all of you wonderful people, go ahead and enjoy the rest of your evening. We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Everyone is watching me when I'm coming